Good morning everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to yet another AFK journey video. So yesterday we put for Lily May and tried her in the different game modes. So she didn't really scale that well in lone games, but we didn't give up hope because in today's video we tested her out in Alpha Bear and turns out the result is amazing. So I'm able to actually achieve rank 1 on my server right here. Okay, and then we are able to achieve rank 2 on my district, which is not usually the case because my friend on top is way stronger than me in terms of stats. So this is largely due to Lily May being the brand new powerhouse for this boss itself. So I'm going to showcase some records on top, so one by me as well as one by my friend, and then do some simple comparison between the units. Okay, so if you take a look at the first team right to the third team over here, they are basically running the same team setup, but instead of using Lily May as the carry, the player actually used Merrily as the carry itself. So if you take a look at this damage distribution right here, right, Lily May did 21.5 bill on her own. Insane damage. And for my team, the team that I'm using her more as the core carry. It's 26.7 bill, so about 27 bill, really close. And if you take a look at the one with Merrily right here, Merrily is only able to do 17 bill. So this means that Lily May alone is able to do 6 more billion if you're using my team, 6-7 more billion, and at least, right, 4 to 5 billion with this team, the exact same team that runs Ludovic, Coco, Friesto, as well as Smokey. So although there are some, I'll say, like level differences, because like I mentioned, my friend is way stronger than me, but if you take a look at my team over here, I'm only level 910, 920. So I am doing exceptionally well considering my level compared to like the players below who are like higher levels than me. For example, like this guy over here. So in general, right, Lily May is insanely powerful for this boss. I think for 2 reasons, because number 1, there is actually some slowing down in terms of Alpha Bear's ultimate somehow. Like, I don't know how it works because I don't think it was supposed to interrupt the Bear's ultimate, or it's not supposed to like reduce the energy, because from the action itself I can't really see how that works. But turns out, like, I feel that the whole team is surviving a lot better, right? With Lily May being the carry, when she actively casts her ultimate, it feels like the boss's ultimate is sort of slowed down to some extent. I don't know how to explain that, but I will do that by running through the replays for you guys to see how it works, and then recommending potential substitutes for you guys with the different units that you might have. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with my friend's replay first. So this one is with Ludovic, right, Friesto, Smokey, Coco, as well as the carry Lily May over here. And I think he's probably still trying to test Lily May out, so he left Lily May at I think Paragon 1 4-star. So Smokey's bro, I think, is for heal, buff, damage, which I don't think I need to explain. Coco is for damage reduction, so that Coco can protect the whole team with the massive shields as well as survivability. And then Ludovic is there for even more sustain, basically just out healing the boss's swarm attack, right, while dealing damage to the boss itself. So with these 3 massive supports in the team basically can last till the end, and then this allows Lily May to build up on her stacks for the 3rd skill, and then spamming her skills for massive damage. Then we have Friesto for the damage reduction buff, the additional damage, as well as the energy regen on Lily May for her to spam her ultimate more. So without further ado, right, this is the formation, okay, before we start, and let's start the replay. Okay, so I'll use this battle to sort of explain Lily May's mechanic, why she's actually insanely good for this boss. So Lily May right here is actually really good because she has a lot of iframes. So if she does use her iframe skills to actually dodge the hunting when the boss is using the skill itself, number 1, it slows down the boss's hunting process. So right here, later on you guys will see, right, she's just gonna jump around, right, use her ballet, and then when, like, for example, the other 4 units, they get hunted and she casts her skills at the correct time, you're actually able to buy more time for the team, right? Because the slower the hunting process for an Alpha Bear, the longer your team will last, because that way the ultimate will do less damage. Another thing I realized is that this unit actually casts the ultimate pretty actively against the boss, and there's no drop in the energy bar, neither is she interrupting the boss, but it feels like the boss's ultimate just comes a little bit slower. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's just like a me thing that I feel it that way, but it just feels like something is slower slower, right? Something from the boss kit is slower. That's why we are able to survive better, and that's why we are able to do more damage. On top of that, I also feel that this boss is, I'll say, like weaker to the magical side of things, because both Resto as well as Lily May, who are both magical attackers, are able to do more damage. So that's why I guess this is where Lily May excels a lot better, because she's able to build a lot more attack, and since the boss is already weak to the magical attack side of things, that's where I think she will perform better in compared to Merrily in this boss specifically. Okay, so as you guys can see, the team's still surviving really well, and Lily May hasn't been honeyed yet. So this is the reason, I guess, why, right, your team is able to survive longer. Because with Merrily, yes, Merrily jumps around, but Merrily is not in the iframe, right? Iframe meaning like you just can't do anything to the unit at all. The unit is invincible. So being able to stall out the whole hunting process, as you guys can see, right? So Lily May until this point is still not honeyed. So being able to stall that out just increases the survivability of your team a lot, and that's where this unit is insanely good for this boss specifically. Not sure whether or not she'll perform for the other bosses, but there's a very high chance she would, considering her current damage numbers. So depending on the mechanics of the boss moving forward, I think she will be really good for Dream Realm, right? At least for those bosses who are weak to the magical attack side of things. So right here, once again, the damage distribution. Okay, so this is with the Ludovic team. Okay, so the previous meta was one with Friesto, Ludovic, Coco, Smokey, and then the carry unit is Merrily. So now we just swap out the Merrily for Lily May for this damage. So next, I'm gonna run my own replay, which is this one over here. So for me, instead of running Ludovic, I actually just ran Rainer to just give more damage on the boss, as well as more protection on Lily May. So the buff that Rainer provides for Lily May also allows her to do more damage just right at the get-go. So that's why my Lily May's damage is a lot higher, right? This one is 26.7 compared to my friend's 23, and this lineup over here provides more factional bonus, because this is a 4-1 compared to the 3-1 just now. So just now, because we are running Ludovic in Rainer's place, we are getting 1, 2, 3, right, plus one of the other units for the factional bonus. But for my team, this is a 4-1 bonus right here. So more stats, and let's start the replay. Okay, so starts off the same. So you sending Lily May in is actually, I'll say, like good in a sense, because she will start off with her ballet skill, and then she will just reposition herself backwards. Okay, and that's where she doesn't get honeyed immediately. So against Alpha Bear, right, if you guys are thinking like, oh, why is this Zip guy talking about honeyed? So the boss's kit works like this, right? The boss will actually apply honey on all your units, indicated by the yellow debuff at the bottom. So once all your units get honeyed by him, right, he will be able to unleash massive ultimate damage. So that's where your team will most likely die. So against this boss, you want to buy as much time as possible, right, by slowing down the honeyfication process and dealing damage in the process while surviving. So another gimmick about this honey is that the honey reduces the HP regeneration, the recovery. So this means that healing units generally ain't as good. But in the previous build, because you have Ludovic, because you have Smokey, and then pair them with Coco's damage reduction, the healing is more than sufficient to survive, right? Usually you only need one healer, but against this boss, 2 healers, 3 healers, actually a good idea, especially when your healer is Ludovic, who can also do massive damage. So this is the build that I use. Okay, so you guys can see, right, from the start to the end, from the battle just now as well as the battle to this one, Lily May is always like inbound. She's always jumping around, so she'll always be one of those last few units to be honeyed by the boss, and that's where she will survive longer, and this will prevent the boss's ultimate from doing the mega swarm attack. Yeah, and for my team itself specifically, I think it's more Lily May centric, so this allows her to survive a little bit better towards the end. But as you guys will realize later on, once all my other units get honeyed by the yellow debuff, as you guys can see, they will eventually die off. But at least for Lily May's case, she's able to just dive around, do massive damage, and then just carry the team from there. Okay, so from there, I think that's pretty much it. Let's go at 3 times. Okay, so I will slow down when there's a need for me to. Okay, so she used her ultimate, massive 400% damage. Okay, so she finally gets Hunted, and that's where it's at the end of the timer. So you guys can see my whole team actually survived to the end, and that is one very important reason for me to do that much damage, because for this boss itself, there is currently, I think, only these few teams that can survive to the end. So like this Ludovic team is one, Ludovic, Coco and Smokey, just relying on the raw power of stats as well as triple healing or sustain to just brute force the full duration. Or you can use this strategy that I'm using right now, which is Lily May just flying around and slowing down the Hunification process. So let me just run through the ultimate once again. So this is the reason why you want to slow down the Hunification process, because when all your allies are marked by the honey, the yellow color thing, that's where the boss deal massive damage and most teams can't survive. So Lily May does a really good job in surviving. And if you don't have the units which I showcased just now, who can you replace? How can you build your team? So let's say if you don't have the Celestial Hypogean unit, the base level unit you can use is obviously Torrent and Ludovic. So in this case, like I mentioned earlier, for Lily May's case, Lily May don't actually have a lot of issues surviving, because she's usually not the one getting hunted, so you don't actually have to link her to anyone, right? You don't have to protect her with Torrent. So in this case, I will link Coco to Torrent, because I feel that Coco is actually the more vulnerable unit in the team. She's like the stats weak kind of unit. Okay, so right here, let's see. Okay, but this team is a lot weaker because we don't have the factional bonus. So this is one issue which I think you might want to consider, because right here we have 2 Grave Bonds, 2 Maulers, as well as a Wilders. So if you can, right, you can obviously use Reina for like this stats bonus, and in the place of Lily May, you send in Coco. So Coco will be that frontliner to prevent the earthquake. So this will be one team I recommend, or you can use the Torrent team. So we'll showcase this team first, and then we will showcase the Torrent team. Okay, so let's start the battle. Okay, so this team I think will be the better budget option. So we're sending Coco for the initial hunting and giving Coco the damage reduction, so my whole team can do what they want at the back. Okay, so this is for those of you guys who went for the Reina first, as recommended by me in multiple videos. So Reina is still one of the best Dream Realm character support, so you guys can actually still rely on her. You might not get like the topmost damage with the likes of Freyasto, but I think this team will still do decently well. Based on the numbers, we are at 35 billion. I got a very good feeling we might do even more. Yeah, I got a really good feeling we might do even more. Okay, so right here, Coco uses the ultimate, so you guys can see this team can survive that barrage of damage because of the triple sustain. So very unique only to this team. So that's the gist. Like, okay, we survived towards the end. Okay, we died at the last 3 seconds. So this is the secondary team, right? This is without Freyasto. So Freyasto does quite a huge chunk of damage, like 10 bill worth of damage. But if you don't have Freyasto, this is one team that you can use to achieve 42 billion damage like I did. Okay, so this is relying on Lily May as the main carry, backed with the triple support and Reina support. So another way is to use Torrent, but if you do decide to run Torrent right here, you will be losing quite a bit of the factional bonus, at least 10% across the board. Yeah, which is something I think could be detrimental, but we're just going to give it a try just to showcase to you guys how this team will work, so you guys can have a better gauge. Okay, so we are still running the idea of triple sustain, but this time around we are using Torrent as a frontliner for the debuff as well as the protection on Coco. So I just run everything at 3 times. So this is option number 2 for the more budget option itself. Another team I can think of with Lily May is running Hewin in the team as well. So instead of running Ludovic, we run Hewin. But for Hewin's case, I think Hewin doesn't provide that much offensive power. So she does buff Lily May up, but that's that. She definitely can help keep the team survive better, but I don't think the damage will be as optimal. Yeah, so right here, I think the damage is a little bit slower compared to just now, but I think we should still be able to hit the 40 bill mark at the very least. Okay, last 9 seconds. Yeah, we're hitting a 40 bill mark. So we still can survive pretty well all the way to the end. So this is 40 billion, by the way. I think 40 billion should be able to get you to places in most servers right here. So this is the damage distribution. So Torrent is able to do a little bit more, but your Lily May as well as the other units are doing a little bit less because of the loss of stats. So that is for the alternate team, right, with Torrent. Okay, so other than the two like more budget friendly teams, there's also another team. If you have two of these celestial units you can run, so Skyta and Reina, you can form this team. If you have Shakir is actually a pretty decent option as well. So if you have Shakir, what you can do is you use Shakir to be the frontliner, because this unit will run in the front, and then you send in Lily May, so Lily May don't get honeyed on the first honey itself. So this is one more team I want to showcase. And for the other team ideas, I think I would want to try to build a Wilders team, but I personally don't think that the Wilders are that good against this boss, because like or Wilders are that good in Dream Realm in general. Like most of the units in the Wilders faction, they ain't exactly like the most optimized for bossing. So that's why you guys can try it, but you probably won't get like good damage. If you are up there for the ranks, if you're just up there to get better damage, then I think I won't recommend the Wilders route. So Mauler or Graveborn will be the combo you want to go. You can also go Mauler together with Light Bearer, so then the package will actually change out from like maybe like the Maulers to like maybe from Smokey and Coco to maybe, for example, like our dear Faye for heal. But honestly speaking, Mauler is gonna be really hard to replace, so that's that. But you can obviously try to put in like Bearer as well. So this team is a lot worse compared to the two teams just now. So this is 38 build, still okay, but obviously a lot worse. And I guess in the name of science, we're gonna experiment once with a more, I would say, like Wilder centric team. Okay, so we're gonna put in Hewin. So the reason why I'm putting Hewin is because Hewin is basically gonna serve the role of our dear Ludovic, which is to just heal and provide the sustain for the team, and to sort of fill out the void, because I need a unit that runs in front. I need a unit that goes to the front and sort of buy time for me. I'm gonna use Iron. So people will be like, why are you using Iron for bossing? So Iron actually is okay for damage dealing, not the best, but I'm using Iron more for the buffing on Lily May, for the magical damage reduction. So this is just a for fun team, by the way. It's not like the most optimal team, so I just want to see the results. Okay, this is for those of you guys who are in the name of science like myself. Then this is one team that you guys can do. So I mean, since I'm showing this for you guys probably don't have to try it. Yeah, so this right here, right, our dear Iron is able to provide for some magical damage boost for Lily May, and Iron himself has evasion, which allows him to dodge some of the damage ticks. And because we now have Hewin, who is a massive defensive support, I don't think we will have any issue surviving, because we have a lot of damage reduction and we have a lot of heals. So now the idea is how much more damage can we do, or how much damage we can do with this team itself. From the looks of it, I think we can still easily do 40 build. Yeah, based on this setup, I still think we can do 40, 35, 20 seconds left. There's a chance. Can we do it? Come on, team, show it. Okay, maybe not. The team is losing a little bit of steam towards the end, because yeah, the bosses that are defenses are building up. So 37 billion, so this is the worst team setup so far, but still I think decent result. So this one is hyper buffing Lily May. So this is one team that you guys can try if you don't have all the units I mentioned earlier, right? So this is if you went for Iron and then you went for all the meta units, then you can definitely use this for your Alpha Bear run with Lily May right here. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in as usual, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.